A new era dawns in Britain around the 5th century, a time we now know as the early medieval period. This is a time of profound change as we see the transition from Roman Britain to Anglo-Saxon England. The once mighty Roman Empire's influence is waning and new power dynamics are emerging. The introduction of feudalism marks a significant shift in social and political structure, with the land divided among local lords and their vassals. This is a time of knights and serfs, of castles and manors. Amidst this backdrop of change, the stage is set for the early medieval battles that will shape the future of the British Isles. One such example is the Battle of Badon, a legendary fight that symbolises the resistance of the Britons against the invading Anglo-Saxons. As the early medieval period progresses, so does the complexity and intensity of the conflicts and weaponry used. The dawn of the medieval era sets the stage for a tumultuous and transformative chapter in British history. Enter the Vikings, a formidable force from Scandinavia who would play a significant role in shaping the British medieval period. Emerging from the icy fjords of the north, these seafaring warriors made their mark with a series of invasions across England. Their arrival was not just a threat, but a catalyst for change in British warfare. The Vikings were not only fearsome warriors, but also innovative blacksmiths. They crafted weapons of unparalleled quality, from the robustness of their double-edged swords to the versatility of their battle axes. These tools of war, combined with their fierce fighting style, brought a new level of intensity to the battlefield. One cannot speak of the Vikings without mentioning the Battle of Stamford Bridge. This epic confrontation marked the end of the Viking Age in England, but their influence lingered, forever altering the course of British military history. The Viking era, fraught with battles and invasions, would eventually give way to a period of relative peace and prosperity. 1066, a year that would forever change the course of British history. The Battle of Hastings, a clash of might and strategy, marked a turning point. It was a confrontation between the last Anglo-Saxon king, Harold Godwinson, and the Duke of Normandy, William the Conqueror. The outcome? A resounding victory for William, who would go on to be crowned as the first Norman king of England. The Normans didn't just bring a new monarch, they brought a new method of warfare. Their knights, mounted on horseback, were a formidable force. These warriors, clad in mail armour, wielding weapons such as lances and swords, brought a level of brutality to the battlefield that was hitherto unknown. But the Normans didn't just excel in open battle. They were also pioneers of a new form of defensive architecture, the castle. These fortifications, built from earth and timber and later stone, dotted the landscape. They served as both a symbol of Norman power and a practical means of defending territories. The castle, with its high walls and fortified towers, was designed to withstand sieges. It was a place where the Normans could retreat and resist enemy attacks. The introduction of the castle in Britain drastically altered the dynamics of warfare. No longer could an enemy simply march into a territory unopposed. They now had to contend with these formidable structures. The Normans also brought changes to the weaponry used in Britain. The crossbow, a weapon with incredible range and power, became a staple of the Norman arsenal. It was a game-changer on the battlefield, capable of piercing armour and causing devastating injuries. The Norman conquest was not just a shift in power, it was a complete overhaul of the methods and tools of warfare in Britain. The impact of these changes can still be seen today in the castles that dot the countryside and the tales of knightly valour that continue to inspire. With the successful Norman conquest, Britain was poised for a period of significant transformation, both in terms of its people and its warfare. As we venture into the High Middle Ages, Britain finds itself embroiled in both internal and external conflicts. This era, spanning the 11th to the 13th centuries, was marked by significant battles that would shape the course of British history. Key among these was the Battle of Bannockburn in 1314, a pivotal confrontation in the First War of Scottish Independence. Here, Robert the Bruce led a force of Scots against the English King Edward II, achieving a victory that would echo through the ages. Another notable clash was the Battle of Boroughbridge in 1322, a civil war encounter between the forces of King Edward II and his cousin Thomas of Lancaster. Despite Lancaster's noble cause, his rebellion was quelled, marking a significant victory for the monarchy. These battles, and others like them, were influenced by the evolution of weaponry during this period. The crossbow, for instance, became a crucial tool on the battlefield, its power and accuracy making it a formidable weapon. Plate armor began to replace chainmail, offering better protection against the improved projectile weapons of the time. Yet, the High Middle Ages were not just about conflict within Britain. The era was also defined by the Crusades, a series of religious wars that had profound effects on British warfare. Crusaders returned home with knowledge of new fighting techniques and weaponry, including the longbow and the trebuchet, both of which would become vital in battles to come. The Crusades also brought about a shift in the perception of warfare, turning it from a feudal obligation into a religious duty. This led to the rise of knightly orders and a code of chivalry that would influence the conduct of war for centuries. The High Middle Ages was a time of great change and conflict, setting the stage for the final chapter of the medieval era. The late medieval period, a time of significant advancement in military technology and tactics. This era bore witness to the introduction of a game-changing element on the battlefield: gunpowder. Originating from the East, this volatile substance transformed warfare and laid the groundwork for modern artillery. The power of gunpowder was harnessed in a variety of ways. It propelled arrows further and faster, it was used in crude grenades, and most notably, it breathed life into the first cannons. These early prototypes of artillery, though rudimentary, were a terrifying force on the battlefield. Their thunderous roar and destructive power sent shockwaves through the enemy lines, both literally and metaphorically. One of the key battles of this period, where the might of such weaponry was displayed, was the Battle of Agincourt. Fought in the year 1415, during the Hundred Years' War, the English, led by Henry V, faced a larger French force. The English were heavily outnumbered, but they had a secret weapon: the longbow. Combined with the muddy battlefield that slowed down French knights, the English longbowmen rained down arrows on the French, inflicting heavy casualties. But the Battle of Agincourt also saw the use of gunpowder weaponry. Small bombards, early forms of cannons, were used to great effect, adding to the English victory. This battle was a turning point not just in the war but in military history. It showed the world the potential of gunpowder and the devastating effect of artillery on the battlefield. As we look back at the late medieval period, we see a time of experimentation and innovation. It was an era that pushed the boundaries of warfare, laying the foundation for the future. As the medieval period comes to an end, Britain stands at the precipice of a new era, one that will be shaped by the experiences and lessons of the past. From the early medieval period to the late, Britain's history is marked by a series of battles, each with their unique significance. This era, which began as Roman Britain transitioned into Anglo-Saxon England, was punctuated by the rise of the Vikings, fearsome warriors who left an indelible mark on the landscape. The Norman conquest then ushered in a new age of feudalism and chivalry, reshaping the nation's societal structure. The High Middle Ages was a period characterized by political stability and cultural prosperity, yet it was not without its share of conflict and upheaval. Finally, the late medieval period, a time of significant social and political change, saw the development of new forms of warfare and weaponry. The medieval period, a transformative era in British history, has left us with a rich tapestry of battles and weaponry, a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of its people.